Welcome. This is the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green. This podcast is a safe place for us to have weekly discussions about mental health, Christ, personal development, and the tools to live our best lives. Stay tuned for a new episode. So hey guys, welcome back to the Mentally Heal Podcast. This is your host, Lauren Murray, and I hope you guys are enjoying the quotes from my journal series because I'm enjoying it. I think I'm finding more satisfaction though in looking at my old journals because I don't usually look at them once I finish them. But don't forget to subscribe, share, and rate the show because when you do that, I know that you are enjoying the content. Don't forget to download your free 30 journal prompts for growth and reflection because we out here trying to grow, do better, live our best lives. So, also check out my Instagram because all of the quotes from my journal Instagram lives are saved on there. So you can go back and tune in and see what you missed. But let's get into the quote for today. Wait, before I get to that, this episode is like really late. It's going to come out this evening because over the weekend I was a little busy and I didn't feel like recording. I was a guest on someone's YouTube channel, and what else? I went shopping for my upcoming trip, and I went to a graduation party, and I just did not feel like recording for whatever reason. But I'm back, and this episode is coming out Wednesday, but it's going to be late Wednesday, but still going to be good. So, I took time to rest. I was really tired last week after working all week. I was just really tired, needed some time to get my life together. And I'm going to have some more rest coming up because I'm going on vacation for my birthday, which is May 31st. So I might do a birthday reflections episode or something, and record that before I leave for my trip. I got to see how I'm going to do that though. But let's get into today's quote. So this quote is from February 1st, 2020. And it says, and I wrote, I'm probably quick to shut down or block people because it was my way to avoid conversations. So backstory, before I started on this wonderful journey of growth and self-reflection for myself, I would block people. Right? Like, for example, if I'm dating somebody or getting to know somebody, not even like dating, but getting to know somebody, and they like did something to make me mad or whatever, I would just block them. Like, no conversation, no nothing. I would just block them. And the other person would be wondering, like, what's up? Why did you block me? What's going on? Right? So one of the things that I realized with journaling is that journaling helps you to identify patterns in your life. And one of my patterns was that I would shut down, right? I wouldn't talk about stuff. I would just be like, I don't want to talk about it. And I wouldn't talk about things that bothered me, or I would just block people. And sometimes I would do it to avoid conversations, or sometimes to avoid like confrontation. But I'm realizing as I'm getting older is that sometimes confrontation is good. And even if you avoid the conversation, the thoughts and feelings that you have about the person or the thoughts and feelings you have about the situation is still going to be there, even if you don't have the conversation. And even if you avoid the conversation, those thoughts and feelings are still going to be there. All right, whatever made you mad or whatever happened, you're still going to have all of those thoughts and feelings. So even though I was avoiding people, or I wasn't really being assertive and speaking up for myself and saying, hey, I don't rock with that, or I don't rock with this, the thoughts and feelings I had about the situation were still there. Even if you avoid something, your feelings about a situation is still going to be there. And honestly, in my personal opinion, the feelings are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you deal with it. Right? I'm reading this book. Y'all, I've been talking about this book probably the whole month. I'm not done yet. I still have 2 more chapters to go. But it's called The Gift by Dr. Edith Edgar. And one of the things she talks about in her book is, hold on, y'all, the paper, hold on. One of the things she talks about in the book is about the prison of avoidance. And the title of this chapter is called There Is No Prozac at Auschwitz. One of her, I think she disclosed to her clients that she was a Holocaust survivor, and the person, or something in the book, and the person was like, I just realized there's no Prozac at Auschwitz. Like, you couldn't just take a Prozac and numb your pain or help with your depression. You had to really go, you really had to experience that. You couldn't really just numb yourself while going through. So one of the things that she says, I might have said this in another episode, but you can't heal what you don't feel. You can't heal what you don't acknowledge, right? She didn't say that part, but I did. You can't heal what you don't acknowledge. You can't heal what you are trying to avoid. Because if you're avoiding it, you're not really working through your feelings and your thoughts. Yo, I'm preaching and we only like 6 minutes, 7 minutes in, but you have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge your thoughts and feelings. You have to say, hey, I feel a way. And you also have to have conversations with people. The one thing that I'm realizing as an almost 29-year-old is that you have to have the tough conversations. Like, if you really see value in a person, if you really see something in a person, if you really want to cultivate a relationship with somebody or even a friendship with somebody, you have to have the tough conversations. I'm not even talking about like ending a relationship, but like in friendship and in relationship, you have to have tough conversations. I couldn't be around someone who was afraid to confront me, right? Or even challenge me. Like, I couldn't be around someone who was a yes person or a yes man or a yes woman. And it's important that we challenge each other. There's no point to have a friend and they see you going down the wrong path and they just avoid the conversation and let you keep doing what you're doing. That's not a real friend. You gotta have friends that are honest with you, that aren't going to avoid the tough conversations, or that are not going to avoid things, they're not going to avoid conversations with you. And even if after the conversation you don't turn from what you're doing, at least they loved you enough to have that conversation with you. At least they loved you enough, respected you enough to be like, hey, I'm not rocking with what you doing. Hello. We're not rocking with it. Or even on the flip side of that, even if there's something that you could be doing more of, like calling the person more, or texting the person more, or FaceTiming the person more, even with that, that's kind of like an important conversation too, because if you're not getting your needs met, or if you're not getting the treatment that you deserve, that is also a tough conversation to have, because what are you going to do with the person's answer? Like, if I say, hey, let's FaceTime more because I'd like to FaceTime, if you say no, I'm not rocking with that, then okay, you can make a sound decision moving forward, like, this person don't want to FaceTime. and I need to make a decision about where to properly place them in my life. Y'all, I don't have any notes written down for this. I don't know where this is coming from, but it's good to me. Okay. Yeah, so the prison, you have to acknowledge your feelings, and you also have to have, point number 2, you have to be able to have tough conversations with people. Tough conversations. And tough conversations are hard and they're tricky, but you have to have them, right? Nothing grows in your comfort zone. Nothing grows in your comfort zone. You have to push yourself to be more assertive. You have to push yourself to just acknowledge your feelings and acknowledge your thoughts. Even if you don't have a conversation with somebody, just acknowledge them. That's the first part. Just acknowledge them. And then we can talk about, how to have the conversation with somebody. But yeah, that's the avoidance part, right? Because even in my own life, I avoided certain things, certain topics, as far as different relationships in my family for years. I avoided it. I avoided certain conversations until one day I was talking to somebody, or we were having a conversation, and I just started crying, ooh, ugly cry and everything. And the person was like, whoa, what is this? What's wrong with you? I wasn't expecting that response. And after that, I had to realize, I need to process my thoughts and feelings about that specific relationship, in my family, because if not, it wasn't going to end well, right? And that person even told me, I can't fill that void you have in your life because of that relationship, right? So I had to work on my thoughts and feelings about that specific relationship, because it was going to end badly, y'all. So I hope this episode blessed you. I don't really have much else to say. But the first point was acknowledge your thoughts and feelings. 2, don't be afraid to have tough conversations. And 3, what was 3? Be assertive, maybe? I don't even know. I don't even know my points at this point. But I hope this blessed you guys. We talked about the prison of avoidance and, the need for communication skills and being assertive. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.